What if Islam, Christianity, and Judaism is continuation of ancient Egyptian wisdom but misunderstood? What if we can understand the true teachings of Islam, Christianity, and Judaism? What if understanding the true teaching of these religions can bring peace and harmony in the world? Today, we are going to see how the ancient Egyptian wisdom of consciousness evolved into Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. We will explore profound Egyptian insights, reveal shocking link between all these religions to the ancient Egyptian wisdom, and we will try to connect the subjective experiences in these teachings with the modern neuroscience. Hello, I am Jamaludheen. I am a consciousness researcher trying to understand through neuroscience and ancient wisdom. Egyptian civilization, as we all know, it's a fantastic civilization which have lasted for more than 5,000 years. So, if you look into the civilizations around the world, there are not much of civilizations which lasted so long with its culture, which is art, which continued their culture and belief to an extent of 5,000 years. So, what led them to have a very stable civilization, to access, to understand consciousness, mind, much better than modern science? So that is what we are going to see today. If you look into ancient Egyptian way of life, they gave immense importance to understanding their inner self and understanding their connection with the world around them. Their language, the hieroglyphics, were symbolism based on what we can find in the nature. So a person who understood nature will understand their language. That's how they designed their language hieroglyphics. So for example, if you see into their hieroglyphics, all the symbols of birds, animals, of like the tools they used in their daily life. So a person who have understood an Egyptian culture, they will be able to understand the meaning in their language. So they represent, one example can be, they represented hippopotamus as aggression and depression. So what we can understand from our observation is that hippopotamus is one of the most unpredictable animal in Africa. And if you look into birds, they observed even the sounds. They considered the sound of ibis, the sacred ibis, as more related with the sound of higher consciousness. So they represented the sound or the ibis bird with thought. So you can see a lot of parallels like this, how they observed nature and understood the hidden link between what we can observe in the nature and the creator. And their leaders, what we call as pharaohs, most of the time were not only the political leaders. The pharaohs, the crowns they were wearing, crown of Upper Egypt, the crown of Lower Egypt, all represented the level of consciousness of their kings. So if a person is master in the higher conscious mind, they gave the white crown of Higher Egypt, that's what we call now, and the red crown of Lower Egypt for the people who mastered the mind. And they mastered the resonance and frequency of body, mind, and energy. So in their hieroglyphics we can see the symbol of heart joining with a windpipe. And what it represents is nefer, which means when you coherently link your breathing with your heartbeats, that is when you exist as a being, as a coherent being in the universe. So they understood the concept of how to become one with the universe, and for all these 5,000 years they were promoting only one thing: how to become one with the universe, how to be part of the nature. But there were a lot of problems in the ancient Egypt because of the geography of the region, because of the flood of the Nile. There were a lot of diseases, there were a lot of things happening, but still they were able to fantastic documentation of how a consciousness, how a mind can be awakened, and how it can live as one with the universe. And as we can see with every other civilization, there has been a time when people understood this concept and they practiced and they evolved into a higher conscious people, a civilization. But there have been a time when all these messages were lost and that it again reawakened, etc. The Egypt, if you look throughout the Egyptian history, they have created fantastic temples, pyramids, and other structures. And what they were trying to do with these temples and structures were, they were creating most of the time resonant chambers. So they wanted to have a resonant chamber where they can go inside and they can sit in that resonant chamber and they can listen to the amplified brain waves, so they can understand how their mind is working. They can listen to the amplified rhythm of their heartbeat, so they can understand how is their heartbeat, in how much coherence they have. And they can listen to the coherence between their heartbeat, their breathing, and their brain waves. So the concept of the what we understood as a religion, but in fact it was a spiritual and scientific approach of awakening the mind and consciousness. And what I have understood is, Egypt is the place where they developed the concept of mindfulness, and they represented mindfulness as a personification of Horus, the eagle-headed personality. So Horus actually is the symbolism of you awakening your awareness above everything and viewing yourself down through your being and understanding and becoming aware how is your mind, how is your body, and how is your energy working. So Horus is the personification of mindfulness in action. And they had all these symbols had meanings which connects with awakening of consciousness. So we will be seeing in that some of this and how it is connected with the later religions like Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, and how I believe in fact Islam, Christianity, and Judaism are the continuation of this wisdom of ancient Egyptian on how to awaken consciousness. One of the most fascinating literature of ancient Egyptians were the literature called the Book of Dead, and the real name is called the Book of Coming into Flow. So it's a literature which promoted how to live in the flow state. So if people who are familiar with spiritual growth, flow state is the existence where you live in coherent with the universe, where you will flow with everything. So how this the book of coming forth to the flow state, or the book of dead as we call now, is linked with Quran, Bible, and Torah. So I'm trying to build the connection between the book of dead and the cultural spiritual system of ancient Egypt with the Bible, Quran, and Torah of the modern time. When the Egyptian civilization lasted for these 5,000 years, as I said, there were always been high and low, and there were an instance when some kings understood some pharaoh like Akhenaten. We have historical proof that he tried to revive the spiritual system existed at that time. So what he was trying to revive, so in his time he told the real message of our ancient people have been lost, and we need to revive the system, and we need to go of go to the root practices of nurturing the atom, and atom is the root word of what I believe. Atom is what it became Allah, what it became Elohim in Hebrew, and many other languages. So what Akhenaten trying to do was, he wanted to revive the lost connection of the belief system, the spiritual system existed at that time. The people started getting distracted by going and attaching into the concepts. So the people at his time were worshippers of Amun. And what is Amun? I will be explaining what is Amun. So Akhenaten told, instead of getting stuck in one thing, that is which Amun, which is just part of oneness, the source. Instead of being stuck in one thing, we have to embrace the whole, the atom, the sun disk, which represents the consciousness, the light of consciousness, the light of supreme consciousness, the creator, and we have to nurture it. So his idea of reviving the spiritual wisdom and connecting it back to their ancient time. So Akhenaten lived around 3500 years before our time, and he told, we are going further away from the spiritual understanding of our ancestors. So there existed a pure way of becoming one with the universal creator, and how this message which Akhenaten tried to revive became the religion of the later period. That is what we are going to see. So when Akhenaten died out, as always with other civilizations, even his son went back to the old way of nurturing their gods. So the Amun priests, which were against the revival of Akhenaten, had a bigger control on the spiritual system, and Akhenaten could not revive it completely. But what I believe is, from the historical evidences, we can see that when the Akhenaten tried to revive, there was too much of oppression or like struggle against it. There was oppression from the Amun priests and people who believed only in Amun. So always there are, when people try to revive something, there is always oppression. But in the case of Akhenaten, the Amun priests were so much powerful that even his son was Tutankhamun. He became the worshipper or the nurturer of Amun. So what it can tell us is that, what we can understand from that is, the Amarna project which Akhenaten initiated, which is considered to be a bigger project than the construction of pyramid by the volume and scale. He was trying to create a new capital, a new way of life, a new way of nurturing the source, the energy of consciousness, other than nurturing each and every aspect of it. So it actually didn't work out. Whoever believed in Akhenaten was tortured, and I believe they had to go out of the Egypt, which was ruled again by Amun priest influence. The people who believed in Akhenaten's message, they should have they should have gone out of Egypt, and they should have settled somewhere outside, because in Egypt they were being tortured. We can see from the archaeological evidences that even the name of Akhenaten was completely erased. So the followers of Akhenaten would definitely be tortured and made to go out of Egypt. So the people who understood the message of oneness in Akhenaten's revival might have settled in the vicinity of Egypt, like Jordan, like Saudi Arabia, Yemen, like throughout Syria, etc. So I believe the um, the evolution of Islam, Christianity, and Judaism have a big role uh, for the evolution, for the migration that happened from Egypt from by the followers of Akhenaten. One important evidence for that is the sudden emergence of Nabateans. So if you see the origin of Nabateans, we can see that a Nabatean as a culture, they evolved so fast in 500 years, and they built fantastic structures in Petra, in Jordan, and Al Ula in Saudi Arabia. And they were the origin of people who created the Arabic language. So, who were Nabateans, and what made them to evolve into a very advanced civilization which, with this fantastic language, with fantastic architectural abilities? So who were they? And even we know the Nabateans have settled in Europe. They were very powerful business people, and they were very respected people at that time. So who were these Nabateans? So once we understand what happened in Egypt at the time of at the death of Akhenaten, a lot of people who believed in the oneness of message of Akhenaten had to come out of Egypt and settle somewhere. And these well-educated and culturally rich people build new cities around the world, and I believe Nabateans are one of it. And what made them, and what I believe is, Nabateans are the origin people who tried to record the ancient message of Egyptians, the revival of their religious belief, and they developed a new language, Arabic. And similar thing has happened throughout Middle East, where people who followed the revived message of oneness created a different stream. And I believe Quran was the creation of Nabateans, and Coptic, the people who Coptic Christians, and they are the people who revived the message and created Bible. And same thing, the Hebrew people are the people who tried to develop the message of ancient Egyptians in their languages. So let's try to understand what are the link that we have now, so that we can understand and we can get the proof that these people who migrated from Egypt were actually following the same message what the Akhenaten tried to revive in the ancient Egypt. So the first thing is Atum. So if you look into the ancient Egyptian mythology, there is a personification called Atum. And Atum, if you see, Atum is the personality which wears the two crowns of Egypt. It wears the blue crown, the red crown of Lower Egypt, and the white crown of Upper Egypt. So, what is the real meaning of Atum? I will explain. Atum is the unification of the red crown and the white crown. And red crown and white crown doesn't mean higher and lower Egypt, but it means the lower mind and the higher lower conscious mind and the higher conscious mind. So we can see the same Atum is actually there in as Adam in Quran, in Bible, and in Torah. So why Adam? So Adam, if you look into the root meaning from the Arabic, Adam means union. So the same message of union of your conscious, lower conscious, and higher conscious mind is what is the message of Adam. And as per the Quran, the consciousness Rabb revealed to Adam to not to go to the tree, the shajara. That means not to diverge, not to break out. So if you break out as a lower conscious and higher conscious mind to separation, that is the origin of creating incoherence in the mind. So what is the real message of Adam is if you want to live in coherence, you should keep your lower and higher mind connected, and not you should not break the connection and branch out as a dual mind, where the lower mind acts differently and the higher mind acts differently, and that is the root cause of corruption of a mind, and which affects the consciousness of a person. So the message of Adam and Atum are same, but when the language and culture evolved in different ways in different places, the message of Adam was different in Arabic. In Quran, the message of Adam in Bible was different, and it had some more detailed explanations, but all the concept was same. So if you look into another thing, uh, each Arabic, the followers of Quran, Bible, and Torah, they would say Amen after any prayer. Why do they say Amen? So there is an Egyptian deity called Amun. So Amun, who is Amun? Amun was one of the uh, well accepted personality or well accepted deity in the ancient Egypt. The origin of Amun means to be stable. So if you look into the personification of Amun, it had two plumes on the head, and what does it say is two plumes staying very stable. So Amun means to be stable and still in the mind. So this was what initially the ancient Egyptians understood. To have to awaken your consciousness, you should have a very stable and still mind. And the most primary important thing of awakening or understanding your inner self is only through the stability of the mind. So this was the concept they promoted. But when the people personified this into a deity, and when people started misunderstanding it as a uh, uh, misunderstood the personification of Amun from the stability of the mind to a deity, and they confused it and they started uh, worshipping it. That is when the Akhenaten said, we should not be stuck in the lower explanation of consciousness. We should nurture the consciousness in its entirety as atom. So the same Amun we can see in Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. And in Islam, in the Quran, we can see Amun as uh, Amanu, ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, which means, oh, the one which is stable. So the Quran is addressing to the stability of your consciousness. So if your mind is not stable, you cannot access your inner workings. So the prime important thing is we should have a stability in the mind, and that is what which means by Amun. And Iman means through stability achieving stillness. So if the people who understood to revive their mind and connect with oneness of the universe, they should always create stability in their mind. And that was the concept of Amun, and which in the Quran became Iman and Amana, Mu'min. All are these derivatives of the word Amana or Amun. And once I understood the Quran through the root Arabic word meanings, the whole message of the Quran is that how to achieve stability in the mind, how to be calm in the mind. When you achieve stability and calmness in the mind, then only you can listen to your own brain waves, the neural firing of the brain waves, and by listening to this your own brain wave, you can understand the coherence in your mind. So once you understand the coherence in your mind, once you achieve coherence in your mind, you can connect it with the coherence in your heartbeat and your breathing. That is when you exist as coherent in the universe, and you become one and you witness Allah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. That means you witness that there is no being other than the universal being. So La ilaha illallah means there is no being other than the universal being, because in you there is no being, there is no lower being, there is no higher being. You become one with the universal being. So that is what the message of Quran, that is what the message of every spiritual scriptures. If you look into even into the Vedas, the same message of Aham Brahmasmi. And if you look into the Hebrew Bible, the message is same: there is no God, there is only one Creator. And the Bible also have the same, Torah also same. So what the same message was lost in translation because of the difference in language and because of the difference in culture. And another example is Seth, which is actually became the Shaitan of Quran. And Seth means keeping your mind wandering in control. So Seth means to wander. If you look into the Arabic root meaning of Shatanu, it means mind wandering. So keeping your mind in yourself, and instead of wandering your mind, keeping it yourself is one of the primary thing of achieving coherence in your mind. So if you instead of controlling and grounding your mind, if you allow your mind to wander, it can destroy your mind. That is why Seth plucked out the eye of Horus. So what it means, the mind wandering destroyed the vision of mindfulness. That's exactly what happens in the mind. If you cannot control your mind wandering, you cannot be self-aware, you cannot be mindful, even it will destroy your consciousness. Other example is Inpu. And Inpu, we know the Greek version of it called Anubis. And Inpu is what became the jinn. So Inpu is actually a canine-headed deity personality, and what it means, Inpu means subconscious. So Inpu is the uh, protector of netherworld. So netherworld is actually the subconscious. So there is another deity called Sokar, which is an eagle-headed god before Horus. So what does it mean? There is a concept called zikr in Quran, which means self-awareness. So before becoming mindful Horus, you have to be Zokar, which is the son of Horus. So what it means, self-aware, you should be self-aware before becoming mindful. And there is a city called Saqqara, which is considered to be capital of awakening self-awareness. And we have a concept called Waqa'a in ancient Egypt, where if you look into the head of Tutankhamun, you can see a cobra in his head, which is called Waqa'a or Wajyo in a Greek version. So what does it mean? We in Quran there is a concept called taqwa, which is actually the origin, which is Waqa'a from ancient Egypt. So if you understand what is the meaning of taqwa, taqwa is to be mindful, to be present, with awareness of what is happening in your higher conscious and your lower conscious mind. And another example is the obelisk, which the ancient Egyptians called Techen. And the purpose of obelisk is it is considered as a pointer or pollinator of higher conscious mind. So we have a concept called in Quran called Ibrahim. The root word meaning of Ibrahim means to pollinate, to prickle. So if you still search in the Lane's lexicon or any lexicon, you can see the Arabic root meaning of Ibrahim is to pollinate and prickle. So what does it do? So Ibrahim is the practice of piercing to the higher conscious mind, is what the obelisk was for, and that is the same concept of Ibrahim as well. So by all these link, and there are thousands more similarities between ancient Egyptian concepts and what we can see in Islam, Christianity and Judaism. So what does it mean? The message of all these religion are in fact to awaken your mind, body, and to make you a person in oneness with the universal consciousness or the creator, the source, etc. And even the word Aten was the inspiration, or what that is the root word for Allah. I believe Atem became Elohim and Elohim became Allah. So Elohim in the Hebrew Bible, El or Elohim, which became evolved into Allah in Arabic. So as we said, La ilaha illallah means there is no being. Ilah means being other than the supreme being. So there is no being other than supreme. So what it is? It is witnessing oneness of the self, becoming part of the one, the source, the universe. By connecting all these link between Islam, Christianity and Judaism with the ancient Egyptian wisdom, what I understood is the message of Bible, Quran and Torah are all same, but the way they misunderstood these concepts and created a new religion, that is the root cause of all the problems in the world. And if you see today, even today, people who believe in Elohim is fighting with the people who believe in Allah. People who believed in the message of oneness by the Christ is fighting with the people who believed with the message of Muhammad, the same oneness, and they are fighting each other and destroying the world where we need to live in oneness. So it's total incoherence, or from the view of the universe, it is stupidity at its best. So if you follow and become attached in your mind, you are becoming the lowest conscious entity of the universe. So the same message which you were given by the ancient people to awaken the mind became the tool of destruction of the mind. That's what is happening as a extremist religious beliefs. So the person, the Muslims, Islam means security. People who need to achieve security in their mind became the most insecure people in the world. The people who became Hadu or Yahuda means afflicted in their mind. So people who wanted to learn about the afflictions, the people who were masters of learning about the afflictions of the mind became Yahuda or the Jews. So every concept of the spiritual message became attached into those concepts and they lost the meaning. So what happened to the people at the time of Akhenaten by attaching themselves to the Amun and not understanding the overall capacity, overall message of Aten, was same thing happening around the world. So if you see in Quran, people never understood the real message of La ilaha illallah, but they are started fighting for minor things by attaching into these concepts. People, the same thing happened with the Bible, the same thing is happening with Judaism, with Torah and etc. So what is the solution for all this? So unless we understand that every spiritual scriptures and religious scriptures, the message is to find your inner self. Only you can find the universe, you can understand what is your creator and what are you, only through understanding yourself first, feeling yourself, experiencing the connection that you have with the creator and existing as one with it. That is the only way we can understand it. All messages of these spiritual scriptures is to become the master of the self, to find who am I and why the I is connected with the universal consciousness. Allah, Aten, the Father in heaven, Elohim, Brahma, anything, any name, but find what and how you is part of it. That is the only message in the whole spiritual scriptures. So once I understood, and once I started uh, making a deep inner connection with the universal consciousness, I was trying to go deeper with these spiritual scriptures according to its root meanings. So I was trying to translate Quran by its the original spiritual messages. So on my effort to translate, I understood its link with ancient spiritual, like ancient Egyptian wisdom of consciousness. So what I did was I was all the spiritual verses in the Quran and all other spiritual scriptures are actually the subjective experience. It is explaining what is your subjective experience when you contemplate, when you meditate, when you become one with the universe, and what you should do inside yourself to go step by step. So when I was trying to practice the step-by-step method mentioned in the Quran and linking it with the understood spiritual wisdom, uh, I tried to document it with what is the change in my brainwave when I practice this subjective experience. So through rigorous research for last 10 years, I developed a system called Mind Fitness, where we can document the brain waves according to the mind functions. So when real time, when you connect with the your inner self, when you bring coherence in your mind, it is visible in the brain waves. So by understanding the changes, the features in the brainwave frequencies, we can understand the mind better. So with this research, what I understood and what I want to do is, unless we have a system which makes the subjective experience the prime important, people will again and again misunderstand, and they will attach into the concepts like how the people who believed in the Amun created a new religion, how the people is doing with Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. So what I what trying to do is, the moment I understood all the things are happening inside me, it's a subjective experience. So awakening of consciousness is a subjective experience which I only can experience, and people around me may not understand anything. So the only way we can do is to document it as a subjective experience. So the first tool was brainwave, and the fascinating thing about brainwave and linked with the ancient Egyptian wisdom is, uh, the ancient Egyptians were the masters of biofeedback. So the resonant chambers they built in their pyramids, in their structures, what they did was, once they entered these resonant chambers, and once they contemplate or meditate, they listen to the changes in the brainwave. Then there is a sound of neural firing. So if you go deeper and ground yourself, still you can hear the sound of your brain working. So by listening to the sound of neural firing, you can understand the coherence. That is exactly what mind fitness also do. By listening into the frequency of brain wave and how is the stability, the wandering, and order maintained in the brain wave, that is how we can understand how is the mind working. So by linking the ancient wisdom and the modern neuroscience, I was able to develop a system which can do real-time mind assessment, which can do real-time mind training using brainwaves and biofeedback. I have been publishing all my understanding in my YouTube channel and other sources. So if you are a person who is interested to document your subjective experiences of awakening consciousness, and if you are a person who want to look deeper into your mind and heal yourself. You can use the mind fitness system with a Muse EEG device, and we have a 7 days free trial where you can try out for free. And please follow this channel if you are interested in the concept of going beyond the religion and understanding the true message of consciousness and becoming one with the source and the creator. So if you like this video, please subscribe and let me know what is your view and what you understood from the this video in the comments. I'm very happy to explain to you my understanding and my experience with my journey with spiritual wisdom. So thank you for being with me. We will see you in the next video.